Welcome everyone to our episode 50. And it's a special episode because I have as a guest Luci Gabel. Here we are in the conversation of understanding and healing brain fog, where it's a very broad topic. We have a lot to cover, but we will do our best to focus all the energy in that brain fog. Exactly. So that we don't drift off in other things. And I'm really excited because this is the 50 episode. So it is very special to celebrate it with Luci, as she has been a guest repeatedly in this podcast, and she will be. So, Luci, how are you?
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to be here on your 50th. That's such a great number. Congratulations.
Yes. Thank you.
Wow. A lot of work has gone into 50 podcasts, no doubt.
Yes, it is. It is exciting to speak about all of these topics that cover all of the pillars of health. And this is extremely important because I have listened to a lot of patients, a lot of clients that are suffering this kind of fog in their cognitive process. Mainly the attention span is really a topic that I have listened, and that's why I wanted to talk about this, and the attention and also the repeated distractions that many people have right now.
Those are also great points about attention, just attention in general, and distractions, right? And
Yeah,
they're happening right now. So pervasive, right?
exactly. Yeah, they are so pervasive. They are so common right now because, of course, that as we change all of the processing of how we work, and there was a lot of changes that we have to adapt very quickly. So we are not used to this way of working still, no?
Yes, and we did speak on that a little bit last time about the need to have a plan and a schedule
Okay.
and time blocks and go according to those and give yourself brain breaks. I don't think we talked about brain breaks, but that is something that I recommend highly
That
because
helps a lot.
yes, we think we can power through our day without any rest, without even though we're sitting, we think we're resting. That's a completely different kind of rest. It's the physical rest, but the brain needs rest too. And so we don't treat it like we should. We need to give it breaks, and we need to give it food and water and some time to rejuvenate and get ready for the next thing we're doing, and put time in between those things that we do so we can literally let the cognitive shift occur from one thing to the next, get into the right mindset, make
Exactly.
ourselves happy if we need to, think about some positive outcomes that might occur from whatever we're getting into next. And that in itself, David, gives us energy, right? We talk a lot, and you talk a lot about just your mindset. It has a lot to do with your brain energy.
Yeah, and our brain, our architecture is not designed to constantly work. Even though we think we can go through, we are forcing ourselves. That's why the attention and the cognition and the analytical skills really get tired, because we really, as you mentioned, we need to do those breaks, and it is demonstrated by science, and there's a lot of research about this, that mainly we should be working around 50 to 55 minutes, and every 50 or 55 we should have a break of 5 to 10 minutes in order to recover and those 5 to 10 minutes shouldn't be in the notifications, because
Right, or the emails or the
yeah, because if you take them to go into social media or something like that, for sure those will be more than 10 minutes, and for sure your brain also will get tired, and there's a lot of stimuli from there, no?
right, not really. It's not really a break reading emails or social media and thinking about how to respond or what to say about it. Yeah. And in my book, I write about how right now we've discovered that the brain really uses about 20% of the calories that we use as a human. So one might, I mean, initially you might think, oh, that's a small amount, but it's not small. If you think about your head is about 10 pounds. And then that compared to the rest of your body, it's probably more than 10%. I'm sorry, it's less than 10%. Your head is less than 10% of your body weight. And so, but that consumes 20% of your calories that you need. That's a lot of energy.
Yeah, it's a lot of energy because it's a lot of information that is coming. It's the hub center of the information. And as also we know, many of the stimuli that we receive, there are some processes that our brain has to disrupt or divide into certain categories so that we can assign things. Because as we are speaking, probably now that you are not speaking and you are listening, you are thinking a lot of things right now into the conversation and into what to say. So our brain is never resting. It's always thinking and processing thoughts, and many of those thoughts sometimes are not useful, and you can start engaging with those and losing more of your energy. So it's a cycle.
Yeah. Memorizing, understanding, deciding, reciting or remembering, and inhibiting are the 5 most energy consuming things the brain can do. And we are always doing one of them, especially at work, and especially if we're leaders in the job, we're doing multiples of these things at any given time.
Yeah, are happening. And also, I think that we can go into this section now about the food that we are consuming, that also has a lot of relevance in terms of the energy that your brain is going to have. Because if the food that I'm consuming, the eating behaviors that I have are completely disrupted and they have a lot of sugar, processed food, caffeine, all of those things that are the most common food choices for many people, and they are going to deplete your energy. For a moment, you will feel that you have a lot of energy because that's the rush of many of those foods. But in around 30 to 1 hour, 30 minutes to 1 hour, you will feel that it's going down, the energy, and your attention starts to suffer also.
Yes. Yeah, and that sugar, those simple carbohydrates, we're not talking about all carbohydrates, but the simple ones, those will get into your system from your mouth, into your digestive system, into your blood very quickly, and then they're gone just as fast. Versus when we combine meals, we have meals with multiple different kinds of sources like proteins, plants, and whole grains, whole polyunsaturated fats, then they move into our system, they move through our digestive system slower, the sugars come out of them slower. Even if we did have something with a little bit of a simple sugar in it, like a whiter bread with the whole meal, or a pasta with the whole meal, we're not going to get that injection of sugar like we do when we eat just that simple carbohydrate, or just the sweet, or just the cake, or just the cookies, all by itself.
Yes.
Comes out slower, lasts longer.
Which is the spike that we have in the glycemic index, and that turns on the insulin release to the roof, and that insulin is going to prime your brain to understand that it has a lot of energy and it has to move it around. But that movement, you are not doing it. If you are doing a mental work, you are not really moving. So you are not going to burn down many of that energy, and the receptors of your brain are going to be constantly occupied by these molecules. So you will have a problem in terms of availability of the receptors. Now we know also that many of the neurons work better using ketone bodies than using sugar or glucose. So if we have a very high load of food and sugar, we are going to interrupt, we are going to make traffic in our brain cells, and we are going to make traffic in the kind of fuel that our brain needs. That's why many people, when they have a meeting or when they have an important topic to address, or simply to record an interview, to do something, to have some important interaction, and they just ate something, our brain can feel a little bit tired to engage in a difficult conversation or in a topic if you just ate like in the past 20 minutes. Your brain needs to have digested all that food. Your body needs to digest all that food, and your brain needs to be with a more flexible kind of fuel in order to process all of the thoughts that it has to process.
Yeah, I think, well, David, you're making this very, very simplified about that, right?
Yeah,
What
of course.
we eat and why we might feel tired, because, and I won't go deep into it either, but it's like, because we have different things going on in our system at the time, and it could be like, it's what did we eat? It's how much did we eat? Also, people that overeat might also feel tired, or if one ate the wrong food, too much of the wrong food, too heavy, the food is too heavy, then the body wants to kind of sleep. The body wants to relax so that it can digest. It's not necessarily a bad thing. That depends on what you ate, that it's bad, but it also depends on how much you ate, and the body is responding correctly. But it's just, do you want to eat that before you go to a meeting is the question. Do you want to eat that much before you go to a meeting, etc.? Yeah, so much to talk about in that range. But I think a good rule of thumb to take with after they leave this conversation is, what you eat in the middle of the day, it actually should be pretty light, but it actually should be a mixed meal. Again, a variety of your macronutrients so that they all combine together, and the glycemic index will always be low when we have a combined meal, so that the blood sugar will stay constant and we'll be able to continue working. We won't feel like we have to go to sleep or that we don't have the energy.
And that's the fog. That's the feeling of being foggy or having a foggy brain. That is not really your brain that is foggy, it's the digestion that is draining a lot of energy to the system, and you don't have enough availability for the brain. So that's one of the reasons. The other one we mentioned, the spikes of sugar. That's why, as you suggested, we should mix the proteins, the carbohydrates, complex carbohydrates, and to have a lasting effect on glucose, no?
Yes. Yeah, that's a good key. And sometimes I like the rule of thumb, ideally, if you had to get up and run for some reason after that meal, you would be able to do it. I wouldn't say run for exercise, but if you had to go really fast somewhere and move your body after that meal, you should be able to do it.
Yes, exactly. But you should, well, in order to round this section of food and the eating behaviors, what we can say is that we have these cycles of feeling hungry, feeling the hormones are going to be signaling, and many of the times we have to detect, we have to be aware if it's really hunger that we are feeling, or we are thirsty, because our brain needs also water as a supply to work. And those are the tips that we can say in terms about food. Your neurons prefer ketone bodies. You should mix your meals in order to have a low glycemic index, and you should consume a good amount of water so that your brain is hydrated. No, those are like the three big key points that we can say about food. Trying not to consume it immediately when you are going to have a meeting, an important meeting. What else can we round up about that?
Well, I'm so glad you brought in water, because I don't think a lot of people think about it. And it's true that oftentimes we will feel that dip in energy, and it could be that you're hungry, of course, because a lot of people forget to eat. But it also could be that one is thirsty. I mean, you might think, I really just had food. I shouldn't be hungry. I had a good night's sleep. I shouldn't be tired right now. What's going on? And the answer is usually you haven't been drinking enough water. And I've noticed that a lot with myself. As you see, I constantly drink, even when I'm on,
Yes,
video. You
I'm
too.
also yes.
Yeah, and it's because we get used to that, right? I have a certain number of those bottles that I drink every day, and I definitely I would not have been thirsty drinking that many bottles before, but now that I have that amount in my system all the time, I'm more sensitive to thirst. I know that I need more water because my body is used to having the right amount now. However, in the evening, maybe I did do a marathon work session or two, and I didn't get up to get the drink. And then I feel weirdly tired, unusually tired, not usually that tired at this time of night, And I just have to do the check boxes in my mind. Did I drink? How much water did I have? Oh, wow, it's been a while. Throw some water back, and my brain is changed pretty much immediately. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, and well, just to mention that water is extremely important, because water is the vehicle to activate all the metabolism, all the pathways that we need for energy, for the brain and for the body, are controlled by water. So we need that amount of water because of that. That's why it is important. Many people can think that how water can be so important. Well, that's the reason. It gives protons, it gives a lot of mobility to all the nutrients, and it helps many of the enzymes to break down the components of the food. No?
Oh my gosh, yes. And it depends on what part of our body we're talking about, but average, we're about 70% water. I mean, that's what
Exactly.
we're made of. And our brain, now I've heard a lot of different numbers, but Lisa Mosconi from the book Brain Food, who works at the Alzheimer's Institute, runs the Alzheimer's Institute in it's a prevention clinic in Manhattan. She does research on the brain, and I think it was also in the Mind Diet mentioned that our brain is actually a live brain, not a cadaver brain,
Yes.
is actually 80% water.
Water.
So that's why we feel our brain works better when we are hydrated.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not, many times it's not hunger. Just as you mentioned, do a checkbox of what type of food, sleep, activity, that we are going to go into that activity. Those are things that are going to deplete your brain and making it feel foggy, no? So the second big topic about brain fog and is excessive isolation, no? And of course, everyone in the world right now suffer from that. So we are experiencing. That's why many of those brain fog episodes, everyone is not right now is a common topic. It's not a topic that is suffering just a certain part of the population. Is everywhere in the world, because everyone was under the lockdown measures, and all of that isolation is having an effect in three hormones that are very important to regulate your mood and your emotions. And they are oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. Those three hormones are extremely important in order for you to have a good mood and not engage into depressive or anxious cycles. No?
Yeah, I mean, human interaction we find is so important, and it even affects how long we live, we found in research, and it affects our mood. Depression, anxiety goes away, or can't say it goes away, but is reduced when we have a good support group around us, when we have loving relationships and a good community. And we also find that we have a need. Humans are clan society. We tend to want to be in groups, and we have survival mechanisms that work with others, so we feel more comfortable and relaxed when we're around or surrounded by people.
Yes, even the very simple things like smiling to each other, which many times we were not able to do it now in the street because we have the face masks and those things. So all of those things are interfering with these patterns of hormones. That's why you can feel in a different mood right now in this season than before. No, right now is more common because of those reasons, and you can activate that or up-regulate this triad of hormones by calling a friend, by doing a walk, a simple walk or short walk in nature, by doing a Zoom call with a colleague or with a friend or with a loved one, and trying to see the face and trying to say jokes and trying to smile. All of those things, as simple as they sound, elevate the mood and elevate the levels of these hormones. So those are simple strategies that you can apply.
Oxytocin, serotonin, those things. And I will say this also goes back to mindset, though. I mean, there are times where we are going to be on our own, and we do have to pay attention to the thoughts we're thinking in our mind when we're by ourselves. These have an extremely intense effect on not just our mood, but also our health, because our brain affects our body. So we have to watch the things that we're saying, even in the silence, when we're in our kitchen making dinner or making our bed or getting dressed. You know, what are you saying about your day, or about who you are, or who you're going to be, or what's going to happen next, you know, because that affects the hormones too. Our thoughts affect the kind of hormones that are circulating in our body. And if we're thinking, this is going to be a terrible day, or, oh, I'm so lonely, or, oh, I'm so this or that, name the negative connotation, right? That's going to weigh on us and cause us to be sad and slow us down a lot during the day. And we can, if we get into the pattern of checking that, I see I'm thinking this. What's something else I can think? Just ask, what's something else that's opposite but true? Okay, I don't know, I'm just gonna make this up. Today I looked in the mirror, I thought, oh, I look terrible today. What's something else I can think? Wow, look at this part, look at my hair, it actually worked well today. I'll think about that instead, you know, or, oh, I'm gonna hate this meeting, I'm gonna do terrible. But what's something else that's positive? Well, it's possible that I can do great. Maybe I'll do great today. So just shift it and think that positive path instead of the negative. And literally we do change the hormones that are going to be coming out of the glands. Yeah.
Yes, and thank you for bringing that up, because I have also a short story that happened today, actually. So I receive an envelope in my house, and usually if I receive something is through digital form. So it was very strange. I was already going to the gym, and I didn't want to open the envelope and lose time because I have to go to do exercise. That's one of the things that I do to activate also these kind of hormones. And but that envelope was running in my mind, and I was thinking, what could that be? And my brain and the brain of many humans goes to the negative because it's the primitive region and it's the reptilian brain. And it went to, oh my God, and if it's something that is a debt or that is a notification of something dangerous. And I was just being more aware that I was worried about the envelope. So what I did is that I started to play a different cassette, a different thought of thinking, what if it's something that I want?
Oh, there you go.
What is if it's good news?
Yeah.
What if it's simply something that arrived as a bank account or something, no? That they just make a mistake and they just send it and that's it, no?
That happens.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when I went back and I checked the envelope, it was just a statement of the payments of my car.
It was
And
nothing.
it was nothing. Yes, it was
That's
just
great.
like a follow up of the bank. But your brain can go quickly to those places. So as you mentioned, just do a checkup, just as you do the checkup of the sleep, of the food, of those things. Do the checkup on your thoughts, because many times we can go to the negative cycles and we don't even realize that we are there too much time, and that raises cortisol and goes down the other three hormones. No?
The one thing that also really helps me, I definitely want to chime in on this one because it happened to me as well recently. I was driving in the rain in Seattle. I was just there. And we were going to the airport. It was a big truck that they gave me for the rental. I don't drive these big trucks, but that's all they had. And I wasn't sure about the tires, how good they were, or about how great, what kind of traction we were going to have. I had to stop fast, and it was dark, and the windows were fogging up because they weren't clean enough, and I was scared, and I was thinking something that I've learned only in the near past. I mean, I've heard it before, but it's really starting to hit me now that fear thoughts is our brain trying to protect us. That's all it is. It's not going to happen necessarily, but your brain is looking for, what should I watch out for so that I can preserve myself and not die, right? And so I was so scared, and I realized that this is fear thoughts, brain trying to protect. It doesn't mean it's going to happen. And that takes the fear so much further back. Yeah. Oh, okay. And, I started breathing better, and I lightened up my grip on the steering wheel, and the drive was much easier, to say the least.
And you touch on one that is very, very important also, breathing. Breathing takes out many of these negative thoughts also. When you find yourself trapped in those ruminative thoughts, just breathe. Just make a pause. Close your eyes if you can, if you are not driving, and just take a deep breath and oxygenate your brain. And with that distraction, you can get out from those thoughts and activate the positive ones. No?
Yes, sometimes it's too hard to think something positive. You're in the negative zone. and you just can't get into the positive zone. It seems like it's too far away. And I think that breath is a good piece in the middle.
Connection.
When you stop and you go, okay, I'm just going to breathe and listen to my breath and feel my breath and see the room around me, feel the chair, realize that I'm here, not over there in that imagination thought of negativity.
Yes.
It's a very good middle ground. I love it.
And also another bridge in the same time that you are breathing is being grateful for something. Being grateful for your life. That's the main one. Being grateful because you have a roof. Being grateful because you are driving and you have a car. Be grateful because anything. You can find a lot of things to be grateful for. Pick the first one that comes to your mind, and that will also make the bridge onto the positive. So we are transiting into the positive. So two things that we can do is breathing, gratitude, and then keep on that breathing, gratitude until you get to the other side.
Right. Just keep working in that direction. I love it. And the brain can't think of two things at once. We can go back and forth, but we can't do both at the same time. So over that minute that you're being, or seconds or two that you're being grateful, you're not being negative, you're not being sad. That's another good thing to remember. So as long as you can hold on to that gratitude thought.
Yeah. One last reason into this section of the excessive isolation that primes your brain towards the negative bias is also the light of the screens. If we are watching too much screens, we should be aware to use more the glasses that protect from this kind of light, or buy one screen that filters those UV, blue light, that blue light, because that blue light is absorbed in your body, and it also primes cortisol. So that cortisol is going to make you feel anxious, and it's going to disrupt many of your hormones, including insulin, that is very important for your brain. No?
So I think that's a good place to move to the next one. I mean, we do need to get, we are all in a tech society now. So we are going to be on the computer.
Yes.
And we need to constantly get off the computer too. We need to make those brain breaks, move away from the computer, go for walks, like you were saying, and move our bodies, because our bodies want to move. That is just what we were born to do. We were not born to sit.
Yes, that is the third section of the brain fog category, or the main one also. Sedentarism. We have a lot of increments in sedentarism because we are working still many days from home, or if you are in the office, you are sitting, so you are not doing any activity. So try to do your breaks, even if you are in your home. Try to just walk in your home. Even if you don't have time to go out and do a walk in the block or in nature, try just to activate your brain, stretch your body, try to do something to change your position. All of those things help your body to release many of that energy that is also stored there, no? Too much time. And emotions are also energy that is stored. So your emotions are going to change by the activation of your body also.
Yeah. Well, we already know that we do have received better moods from movement, and it doesn't have to be the runner's high. That's different. it just does increase the amount of serotonin in our body, and also cannabinoids. The body makes its own cannabinoids, which help
Yes.
us feel good and also reduce pain.
Dopamine.
Yeah, and adrenaline too. So, and that's
Adrenaline, yes.
energizing, right?
Yes.
So movement is energizing in itself. You don't have to feel like you want to move. That's the other thing I've spoken with people so many years about. They say, I didn't move because I didn't feel like going. I didn't feel like going out. I didn't feel like going to the gym. That's not an answer.
No.
You're not going to feel like it necessarily. Most of us never feel like it, but we just do it, and then you feel good
Yeah.
that you've done it.
The more you prime your brain to do it, the moment you are going to control those impulses of not doing it, because all of this topic is speaking about the effects of brain fog, and one of the effects of brain fog is apathy. So if you are in an apathetic state, it's because you are not moving. So it is going backwards. So we have to go forward. We have to activate our body, even though we don't feel like it. If you have a dog, find it as an excuse to go out and take it out a little bit, just quickly, so that he goes and takes a walk. Or if you don't have one, just as we mentioned, try to give a walk in your house, try to do some stretching exercises, try to even jump in your own house.
Jump, like jump or do some squats, just sitting
Some
and
squats.
standing for a minute. That's going to increase your heart rate and increase your adrenaline and wake you up a little bit. Or lunges, a minute worth of lunges back and forth. Jumping squats is good too. Yeah. Rolling onto your toes, getting your heels off the floor, back and forth, like this. Easy. Doesn't take any space. You don't have to even put on your shoes.
Yeah. All of those things that can activate, and they are very simple. There is also one that I learned from Brendan Burchard. He mentioned the tapping your body, just tapping your body like this, and your arms, even in your forehead, tapping like this. All of these tapping exercises activate your body because they are feeling the touch, even if it's from yourself. You are activating the cells, you are activating the tissues, you are activating the brain, you are breathing faster, and you are oxygenating more.
Oxygen, and oxygen to the brain. So we talked about water to the brain. We also need oxygen to
the brain.
And
Oxygen.
Yes, go ahead.
No, sorry, I was going to say just oxygen that also we need more, because if in your office you are asked to use the face mask, you need to get out a little bit and take it out and oxygenate properly, because the face mask is not designed to give you the proper breathing. So,
well, I'll say that we just, talking about oxygen and fuel for the brain and hydrogen, sorry, hydration.
Also.
Hydration. These things we're talking about immediate results, right? And that happens. But then there's also the very long-term results. The more we do this over and over, all of these things proven to reduce the risk of Alzheimer's and dementia, which is different, but it's got, it's still brain function, So we're doing this for now, but we're also doing it for later. And we're seeing, yes, nutrients affect as we get old, how well we can use our brain. So does exercise affect movement, oxygen to the brain, blood to the brain. That affects how well our brain fares later on.
So the social activity, so the hugs, the smiles, all of those things And many times if you are working alone in your house, it's completely normal to feel those loneliness. So just pick up your phone in that break and call someone for 3 minutes just to say hello, how are you? I just wanted to check on you. That's it. That's it.
Or tell a joke. My grandpa was a real big joke teller. He would do that. He would pick up a phone, call a friend and say, hey, I just have a joke to tell you. And then he would laugh and he'd be like, okay, bye.
I usually prefer that people tell me the jokes because I usually start the jokes backwards.
Oh.
So I'm very bad to say jokes.
You're bad at that.
Yes, but I like to laugh or put some music. Put some music that also can activate your body.
Yeah. Music.
And it can go into the boosting of the activity of your brain. I prefer to work many times with music. And if I feel that the music that I'm listening to is going or is too slow and I need to do something that I don't need too much concentration, I can put some pop music that I like and activate the rhythm, no? So, and if I feel stressed or something, there is a very good type of music that is solfeggio frequencies. These solfeggio frequencies are very good. They are studied and they are designed to help you to cope with many of these depression or anxious or negativity, all of those things. You just put the background music and it will do the magic. You don't have to do anything. These frequencies are designed to elevate your mood and to regulate your brain also.
Okay. I don't know. Do you think we covered enough for today for these topics?
I think it's pretty good amount of information that you have. So if you have any questions, we encourage you to give us some questions so that we can discuss more about anything that you want to know about these kind of brain functions or brain episodes that we can have. And don't worry, everyone is having these kind of things right now. Right now, I don't think that anyone can get out from this. But now you have the strategies. Don't get too depleted, overwhelmed, or burnout by this. Try to activate with these 3 big sections. Anything that you want to mention, Lucy?
Yeah, I think that that's a good way to end, is that it's however you're feeling. Feelings aren't wrong. Feelings are just what they are,
Yes.
So we don't want to beat ourselves up for feeling sad or unmotivated or anything else that you feel you shouldn't be feeling. But we do want to have tools that we can use at any given time. We don't want to push away the feelings either and ignore them, pretend they're not there. Acknowledge that you're having feelings, and maybe you need to take a little better care of yourself because of that, because these feelings can take us down, overwhelm us, tire us, deplete us, so please take care of yourself when you have these difficult times, and try as best you can to grab a tool or two in order to take care of yourself, in order to get yourself a little bit more out of the funk, help yourself to feel better.
Now that you mentioned that, I was thinking that we can use as a strategy a journaling notebook. We can journal what kind of thoughts, mainly the negative ones, to download them so that you can keep track of which are the things that are worrying you, because that's information that many times when you download the thought into writing, you can see that those are imaginary things that are not even happening. Or it's something real that you are worrying because you need to act on that. You need to do something on that. So that's information that your mind is giving you. So once you download it, you take a lot of the load, a lot of the weight that thought has, and it will leave you easier alone. No, you will recognize the thought, you will put it in paper, and you will be able to recognize if it's something real, something imaginary, something you have to act on. No, that's it, I think.
I like that. That's a good place to end. I think so.
Yes. So thank you very much, everyone, for paying attention. Thank you for being here in another episode, in one of the special episodes that is the 50th. And we are going to be here for you. If you have questions, engage with us and send us a message, and try to help us to forward this episode to people that is suffering from this brain fog. And we'll see each other next time. Thank you. Bye.